has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free.
Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, it got shoved up, shoved it up. It got shoved, right?
Let's go kick some ass.
Good afternoon, Spartan fans. Welcome to a special episode of the Spartan Savant. Why is it special, are you asking? Well, the nightmare is over. The season is done. 4-8, just as we all predicted. Got a little jerk-off action early in the season, and now we're getting the full-on mass exodus. Got a new coach. We'll talk a bit about basketball, and then we'll just talk a bit about hires, portal, etc. Joined here with Travis and Winston. Travis, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. I mean, like not to see so many people in the portal, but that's just the way it is now. So we'll get into that later. But glad to see the coach finally hired.
Yes. Willie, how are you doing?
Yeah, really excited to get into the hire. I feel like this is maybe the most anticipated episode yet. Obviously, a lot going on with Michigan State right now. The portal stuff is scary, but I think it's just kind of have to be like a hold your breath situation for a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer. Lots of excitement. There are lots of things to be excited about though too. Obviously, a lot going on with basketball as well, but really excited about the hire and look forward to discussing it further with you guys.
Yes, definitely. But before we do that, let's just touch on basketball real fast. Not too much to say. We'll just get it out of the way here. We lost to Arizona on Thanksgiving in our nice what was it, 0-4 sports weekend. And then we beat the shit out of Georgia and Southern last night. They're horrible, so who cares? Any thoughts on that?
I guess, Arizona, the first half was a little discouraging. I think we played a lot better in the second half. It's a little encouraged by how Sissoko played a little bit there towards the end and he started hitting some of those hook shots, I guess you would say. But, given his track record against those great teams and those big guys, it was pretty good to see there. There's a couple guys coming in to, get a little momentum, but you can't really tell anything from that Georgia Southern game. And, it's still with the championship aspirations, expectation for the season, it's still disappointing to be sitting here at 4-3 through 7 games.
Definitely. Willie?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of that. I think 5-2 would have been even a bit disappointing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, if you look at the teams we played, kind of like looking back now, like 5-2 would have been losses to Arizona and Duke. So we still probably would have been, it's not much better, but it's not like crazy to think that we were going to lose those 2 games, given kind of what we know about this basketball team, its history. On the Arizona game specifically, obviously the slow starts are killing us, and that's kind of been an issue with this team for a while now, not just this season, but dating back the past couple of years. I've always kind of felt like they start slow. That's in specific games and big picture. Like I feel like it's always kind of tough to get the season going. The second half I thought was probably the best half of basketball. At least for a stretch, was probably the best basketball they played all year. It was pretty encouraging. I don't know what they were down by at one point, but I think it was 16. We had a 3-point lead with like 4 minutes left. Obviously you would like to see us close that game. But I'm trying to be as patient as possible with this team. There is some young players, but my patience is starting to wear thin. I'll be quite honest. I don't want to be like the guy that's like, how can we lose to, number 3 or number 2 Arizona? But it's like, we always are playing in these showcase games, and I cannot remember the last time we won one. I'm sure that we've won, maybe like a semi showcase type game.
Champions Classic last year.
Okay, so we did not win the Champions Classic last year, did we?
We did.
We did. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a year before we lost. The last one I was at Madison Square Garden. We lost. I thought that was last year's for some reason. Anyways, it just feels like we're not. I get the team is not where it needs to be, and that it's a long season. But man, it's like seeing guys like Hogard struggle, Sissoko struggle. It's like really disheartening. And Booker, I don't think we're going to get what we thought we were going to get out of him this year. I always kind of felt that he was going to be a project a little bit, not a project, but he was going to take some time. But I thought by midway through the year he would probably find his footing somewhat, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. It sounds like the rotation is going to be cut down quite a bit based on Izzo's comments last night, talking about how some of the freshmen weren't ready. I'm assuming that's pointed directly at Booker, because honestly, Fierce has been pretty good, and Carr has showed that he belongs to. I think he's got some work as well, specifically on the defensive side. But I don't really have much thoughts on the Georgia Southern game. Big Ten play starting next week. I think that'll really needs to be where this team starts to find some consistency and need to rattle off 4 or 5 straight wins. Obviously that's not going to be easy to do, but I do think the talent is there. It's almost like they gotta get their swagger back. I hate that phrase, but it's like they gotta find it. I mean, it's a team that was a possession or two away from going to the Elite Eight last year, and we didn't lose very much. Hopefully getting Kohler back soon will help us out. Help the big guys out. And you got to cross your fingers that Hogard figures it out as well. Because for us to go far, we need him to be good, at least what he was last year. Can't keep counting on Tyson Walker to create his own shot every time. And this is probably more than we want to talk about basketball, but I'm trying to be patient, and like I was one of the guys that after the JMU loss was like, don't worry, it's a freak thing, we'll be fine. And then all those games that I said, well, as long as we win this game, it'll wipes out that. We lost the Duke game. Okay, well, if we win the Arizona game, it'll wipe out the Duke loss. We lost that game too. So now, I'm kind of bummed, to be totally honest with you, but I'm trying to be as patient as possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed as well. Through the season, why are we the only team in America that oh yeah, they need to figure it out. Wait till March. Kansas, it doesn't wait till March. They're just good.
Yeah.
Duke really doesn't wait till March. They're just good.
Yeah.
The
whole wait till March
thing. We are returning everybody except for Joey Hauser. We should know how to beat JMU. I know the JMU, I guess, isn't that bad. They're undefeated, but come on. We were the number 4 team in the country. Just next week. Oh boy, that Wisconsin game next week.
Big one.
That we have to win that game.
Absolutely.
It's not like season's done, but you better win that game.
Yeah, as big of a must-win game as you can have, on December 5th.
Yeah.
The whole wait till March thing, I think, is great when the team is ranked 18th or unranked going into the season, because then it's like, okay, no expectations. Wait till March, we'll be fine. We'll be ranked. We'll be playing our best. When you come in ranked number 4, the wait till March thing is not cool. I mean, you need to start playing now. The season starts in November. But I do think if we're trying to find some positives, if you look at the Tennessee exhibition game, that's a top 10, maybe top 5 team. Arizona, obviously a top 5 team, and then Duke, top 10, top 15. We were in all those games. Tennessee overtime came down to a possession or two. Arizona had the lead with 4 minutes left. Duke again got within a couple points. As the team goes on, and we have closers like Tyson Walker's a closer. Hogard has been a closer before. He's shown that he can make big baskets. My gut tells me that the water's going to find its level at some point, and when the team gels and starts playing better, and they learn and they get more confidence, some of those closer games will, go our way. And come tournament time, we'll, I know this is cliche, but we will have, have gained a lot from those experiences early on. Hopefully it works out that way, but my patience with this team is running thin. My panic meter isn't pinging yet, but it's on my radar. That's for sure.
So, quick question for you guys. Sorry, Travis, you can go right after. Quick question for you guys about this. What are your expectations for the season now?
I mean, they're not too changed, but I am worried about it. Just like I'm not as confident as before the season. I still think we're one of the better teams in the conference, and we'll still have a pretty good run in March. But I mean, we got to figure it out.
Yeah, I would say 3 seed. Hope for a Final Four. No, that's no longer my expectation. I would expect Elite Eight.
Yeah, say that's
but Nick,
accurate.
and
Let me tell you one thing.
Yeah,
I'm down on this team, extremely down on this team. If we don't win the national championship, I'm going to be pissed off.
wow. I could tell you were down on this team. I could just tell by the look in your eye and the tone of your voice. I don't want to take your phrase, Nicky, but I thought you put it so elegantly the other night when we were texting and you said, well, we're just going to be a team that wins one more game each year than we're expected. Like, we'll just beat one team in the tournament and then we'll lose. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, we beat Marquette last year. We weren't supposed to do that. And then that's just the team that we've been. We just can't. It just feels like it's honestly feeling like that's kind of going to be the year.
We just kind of have to accept that Izzo's probably never going to win another national title.
Yeah, that's what
and
you said.
He's still one of the best coaches in the country, and we just kind of have to enjoy our time winning a couple more games than we were supposed to and being in that conversation. I know I just said that if we don't win the national title, I'll be pissed off. And that's true, but that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I haven't accepted that yet. And I know I need to, but I haven't.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Akins, man. I know that he's been good. I'm not gonna sit here and say he's been bad, but like, he still misses a lot of wide open threes. And he makes some too. I'm not gonna sit here and say he's garbage, but like, he hasn't been that like take over a game type player that I was hoping for. Maybe my expectations or hopes were too high. It was too wishful. But like, he's not what I thought he was going to be. He's super athletic. He's a huge part of the team. But man, misses corner threes like all the time. I don't even know why he takes them anymore. It's just I just want more. I want more for us, and I want more for him, and I want more for this team.
Yeah.
I think you look at Akins' track record, he kind of has a habit of starting off pretty slow in the season and coming off around December-ish.
Yeah, you can say that for the whole fucking team.
Well,
now Nicky's got me down on this team.
I mean, if we're being honest, we're all down. It's just in various levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I think that's all we need for basketball. We can get a little bit more positive.
Sure.
All right. So I guess we'll talk about Penn State before the positivity. Yeah, we got blown out. Guess what? These players aren't on the team anymore. Don't care. That's all we're going to say about that. The atmosphere was amazing. In Ford Field in the city of Detroit. Spartans everywhere for a horrible football team. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Huge shout out to Spartans fans. Me and Nicky were downtown, and there wasn't a bar that we went to. With the first bar we went to, we got in quickly, thank God. But it was packed, nuts to butts. And when we left, the line was around the corner, almost all the way to Ford Field.
This was like 2 hours before the game.
Yeah, and couldn't get into anywhere else. Thank God we found a little hole in the wall bar. We were one of the first ones in, but then that got packed in like 20 minutes. The stadium was probably, I would say, 85 to 90% full. If it holds 65, I'd say there's 55,000 people there.
90% green and white.
80 to 90% green and white. Nicky and I were saying, could you imagine what it would be like if the team was 8-4 or 10-2 even? Like 8-4 would have been crazy, obviously, but like if the team was, 8-3 or 9-2 going into that game, it would have been electric. It was a 13-0 game at halftime. And the crowd was into it, man. And the defense was standing on its head. We left pretty quickly. Once it was like 21-0, it was time to go.
We knew. We've seen this movie enough.
Yeah, and it was we weren't the only ones.
The final chapter of this movie wasn't any better than the other chapters. The best. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I really want to say about the game hats off to the defense for standing on its head like that and keeping the team in the game for the half. At least it was worth the trip down to Ford Field for the first half. My only takeaway is just looking at the three biggest games of the year: Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, and just to lose those games, 100 and something or 90 something to 3, whatever it is so shitty. And thank God we have a new coach coming in, because if we didn't, I would be like questioning my Spartan fanhood right now, to be honest with you.
Thank God
That would
Mel.
be tough.
I mean, if Mel was the coach still right now and this happened, and like even if it was like 10% better, oh my God, we would want him dead.
Yeah, and like we would be stuck in that 95 million. We couldn't fire him. Probably couldn't fire him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it would have been. I don't know what the buyout would have been, but 95 was fully
It was
guaranteed.
95 million, yeah.
So we would be fucked. Thank God. Thank God he made that phone call.
I mean, sometimes you just got to JO and all your problems will go away. Well, not his problems. His problems actually got way worse.
Yeah.
But our problems went away.
Yep.
But okay. All right. And also shout out to Macy and Ivy for going to the Cups and watching that.
Yes.
Shout out to our brother Christopher Hannon, also at the game.
Yes.
All right. Chapter closed. Let's talk about some fun. Jonathan Champion Smith, 26th head coach of the Michigan State Spartan football team. The floor's open. Travis.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, I think pretty obvious that our, wanted Urban if that was possible, but as soon as we found out that wasn't a possible solution or a possible option, Smith and Elko became the top candidates, and a lot of us were on the Smith bandwagon. And man, I'm excited. I'm thrilled with the hire. I think they got it right. Watching that press conference yesterday sounded a lot better. I mean, huge upgrade, especially in public speaking over Mel Tucker. And I mean, you look at his background and all the stuff that he's done. I mean, it seems like a fantastic hire. I mean, I would kill to have any of the offensive performances that he's had from his players throughout his career. I mean, he was Washington's offensive coordinator when they went to the college football playoff too, which I had totally forgotten about until it was mentioned after he got hired. I mean, he conducts himself well and controls his staff and everything. And I think we couldn't have made a better hire.
Yeah, I'm with you lockstep in everything there, Trav. I think one, you got to tip your cap to Alan Haller. I think he ran a really
Absolutely.
good coaching search there. The amount of leaks and were so little. We really didn't know much until a day or two before. I mean, everyone kind of had an idea, but he ran a really, really tight ship on the coaching search end. And this isn't an original thought, but someone Valeni pointed this out. Like, it is really hard to poach a top 25 Power 5 head coach under normal circumstances. Obviously, Michigan, Notre Dame, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, that's a different story. They can pretty much have whoever they want. But, for a team that's at Michigan State's level to poach a Power 5 head coach from another program is hard to do under any circumstances, let alone circumstances where your football team is basically in disarray because the previous coach was an idiot. The board of trustees is full of losers. There's no president. Like, all those things were going against Michigan State, and they were still able to get this done. I think that speaks to the level of respect and regard that the Michigan State program is held in across the country or in the college football marketplace. So good for Alan Haller, good for the program. As far as Jonathan Smith goes, I think it's a great hire. I've been wanting an offensive guy for a long time now, going back to when they hired Mel Tucker. I know that Michigan State has traditionally had success under defensive type guys, going back to D'Antonio. But if you look at those years, Connor Cook being the outlier, we didn't have great quarterback play. 1 year out of Lewerke. So I'm excited that we'll have a coach that will be able to develop quarterbacks. That will be an offensive mind. The defensive coordinator hire I think is very important. But I watched a couple Oregon State games. They played Washington, I thought, so impressively. They ended up losing by 2. But that offense, it's dynamic. It's multiple. There's pre-snap motion, under center shotgun. It's really, really impressive to watch. And that, to me, I was watching that like this is an offense that Michigan State should be running. Like this, it reminded me of the offenses that we ran when we were succeeding under D'Antonio. So I'm really excited about it. I think he's got a lot of work to do, and he'll let you know. I thought he was impressive at the press conference. I thought he sounded a little nervous, but he's not a PR rep. He's not a press secretary. He's a football coach. So I don't really care if he's a little shaky. I mean, that's anyone would be nervous in that spot. Yeah. But I thought he said the right things. I've been impressed with how quickly he's been able to get some of the staff in place, get to work. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. But overall, I'm just so excited. And it sounded like we weren't denied our top choice and then had to go to him. It really sounded like we were choosing, and and he wanted to come to us just as bad as we wanted him. It wasn't like we had to throw in a couple extra dollars here and there. I did see that there were other suitors. That was part of the adding a 7th year to the contract to make it a little bit of a sweeter deal for him. I saw that Haller said he was getting a little nervous that someone else might swoop in. Thank God UCLA beat USC. That definitely, I think, helped Chip Kelly keep in place for another year. But man, I'm just so excited. I've been so impressed with Jonathan Smith so far and everything that he's done at Oregon State. I think the little brother mindset is going to be a good fit for him. I think he's got a lot to learn about Michigan State and
Yes.
the tradition of
Pointed
the
out as much,
university. Yeah. But man, I'm so pumped, and I just think it's great. I think he's going to do great things.
Yes, low ego, high output.
Yes.
A little different than the last guy.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A couple things. First off, Mike Elko. It sounds like we chose Smith over Elko. It wasn't Elko said no.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Elko wishes he was at Michigan State right now after the introductory blood sacrifice.
That was crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
I mean, like
there was a banker around here that went in on him too for that. It was like something about like their championships, and like how they need to win championships. And they're the A&M at their best is a championship, the national championship football program, and he just goes, based on what? It's like,
yeah, I mean,
okay,
accurate.
Yeah. And then he goes into the whole thing and like, the last seasons that they won an 11-win season, but before that, you got to go all the way back to 1998 and then to 1939.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny. I was like,
that video was nuts. If you're gonna do that kind of stuff, make sure the cameras are off. Cheese or Pete's.
Yeah, I mean,
have some. I mean, you gotta
yourself,
have some
man.
Yeah.
I will say I saw that and was like, oh, thank God we didn't choose Elko.
Yeah, man.
Even though it wasn't his idea, I'm sure. But
right.
I mean, like I would hope that another coach would be like, hey, we're not doing that. Just say hi. Maybe you guys can sing the fight song and I'll do a little of this. But let's calm down a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have anything else, Nikki?
Yes, one other thing. So a fun stat that I read about his quarterback prowess is that last year only one first-year transfer QB was in the top 25 like QBR, and that was DJ Ungalele. So
DJU. Yeah, and I think him pulling DJU out of the transfer portal shows, or it should give Spartan fans some confidence that he's going to get a QB. I mean, right now, if we were to play
options too.
Yeah. Right now, if we were to play and someone snapped the ball, no one's going to be there to catch it. But obviously, Childs. We can get into that when we start talking about the portal stuff. But he's, I would imagine a lot of people's top choice. But pulling DJU out of Clemson out of the portal, and what he did with him, I think Spartan fans should be pretty confident that we're going to get somebody that
Yeah.
that he can work with or that is already pretty developed.
Yeah. All right. So I guess should we just go into the portal?
Trying to think if I had any other. I didn't know that he was on the Boise State staff when our first year.
Oh,
our freshman
yes.
year.
One thing I had to point out about that. So that Boise State staff 2012 game, obviously it was all of our first games at Spartan Stadium freshman year. And he did say, like, he saw the passion and he wants to be on the other sideline. So shout out to us for kind of implanting the seed in his mind.
You're right.
in
You're
the
right. We
MSU
played a
code.
role.
So you're welcome, Spartan Nation.
Yes.
The class 2016 and specifically the Spartan Savants.
All right, I'll add one more thing on Smith here. I do think that it helps kind of our mentality, however you want to put it. He's at Oregon State, he got there as a walk-on, worked his way to be the starting quarterback. Chad Ochocinco has said that he's the reason that he got drafted, which is awesome. But I think that kind of goes along with how our program was kind of built under D'Antonio. You had guys like Marcus Rush, Jack Conklin, the Allen brothers all working their way into the starting lineup from walk-ons, and I just think that's an interesting tie-in for him, and he can bring that mentality back. Kind of look out for those kind of guys to start re-emerging under his watch.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I'm so excited too, is because it feels like I get what Mel was doing. I think it was an aggressive approach, recruiting wise and brand wise and everything. It was more of a national recruiting, trying to bring in the top guys. But I think that got away from what Michigan State made Michigan State so successful in that development kind of process that D'Antonio had really championed. I'm excited to get back to the roots a little bit. I think that that's where Michigan State's going to succeed, because I think, as we can tell from Mel Tucker's time, we're not going to get. And he actually, he did a fine job recruiting. It was the ones we missed on and not having the backup plan that I think is really was the downfall recruiting wise. Obviously, it wasn't his downfall in the big picture. That was a little something else. But I'm just so excited to get back to that. Development.
I don't think he did enough in Ohio either.
Yeah, and then
that's
yeah, that's what I'm referring to. It's great to have a national recruiting strategy. I think that kind of might have been what the program needed at the time. I certainly don't fault Mel for going that route, but it's going to be good to get back to the development, platform and process that we used before. One thing I thought that was funny during the press conference was when they put green tape over the relentless part of the jersey that they gave him. When they first gave it to him, it didn't have the green tape on, but then later it did. So someone obviously noticed it and said something.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Yeah, no kidding. We're so back. It feels like we're back.
It feels like we could get. It feels like we got 10-2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
feels like 2015, baby.
Oh yeah. It feels like we're in the playoffs right now.
I got what you were saying about him being nervous earlier or whatever, but that's still 100 times better than any Mel Tucker press conference. It felt like everything was. It felt like he knew, even if he was nervous, he knew what he was going to say and wasn't trying to think through some spiel that he could sell us on or something like that. He was just
right.
It seemed genuine, and it seemed like there was a completely different energy in there.
Yeah. Putting on a show.
Yeah. It wasn't like he was stumbling at his words. A couple times I think he was just going. But I love the energy he talks with. Obviously, it seems like he's excited to be here. I don't feel like it's I don't feel like it's fake or anything. And I love that he is saying good things about Oregon State. I think that's the right thing to do. It obviously means a lot to him. But I think that he's ready to take on the next challenge, which this will be. But it doesn't feel like he still has like maybe a half a foot in the door at Oregon State, or that there's any wavering in his decision that he made. So I'm just so looking forward to it. It's going to be a crazy next 30 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I do like too how he's honest about how he doesn't like act like he knows everything about MSU. He's like, yeah, I know
Right.
nothing about State.
Yeah.
I can't wait to learn
Yeah.
more. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't. He's like, yeah, I think I kind of see where the Michigan rivalry is coming from. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'll be
Hey,
interested. I'll be
Johnny,
interested to
give it 48 hours, you will hate them.
Yeah.
Oh, they are
I'll-
very easy to dislike.
Yeah.
I'll
Won't have
be
any problems there.
interested to I'll be interested to hear what he has to say after we play them next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, when he gets his first taste.
Yeah. He's got the go green thing down.
I think somebody had to tell him that, but yeah.
Yeah. Some of the questions at the press conference were so stupid. The first question someone asked him was if he had to go buy a green tie.
Oh yeah, no.
What the hell are we doing?
You'll get questions like that all the time in press conferences. I've learned some
stupid, man.
some people just like to throw out the for fun questions or whatever.
Yeah. That sucks. It annoys the shit out of me. Like, ask a serious question.
Well, I mean, sometimes the players love it when they get asked those kind of things, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
I
weird.
think there's a time and place there.
Yeah. Also, maybe if it wasn't the first question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the guy's defense, he did say,
He did.
"I don't want to go first."
He did say I didn't think he was going to call me first. Yeah, he did say that.
That's funny. So, all right. So, yeah, that's Johnny Smith. Let's talk about these next crazy 30 days. You want to
Before we
go
do that,
staff first or portal?
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking DC first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Trent Bray was the one that most people kind of thought would come with him. The OC at Oregon State.
DC.
DC, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
He just took the head coaching job for Oregon State, even though for some reason he's not going to coach in the bowl game.
Yeah, I saw he said that. What's with that? Maybe because they already named an interim coach
But
before.
he's not the DC for the game either, though, I don't think.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know, man. Maybe there's some rule that he can't.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
And then he said that Johnny Smith's departure left him uneasy, even though he said if he didn't get the head coaching job, he would go with him. So
yeah, I think he's pandering to the fan base there, if you had to ask me.
He's got to kind of say that to kind of get them to regroup.
Yeah, and bummed out we didn't get him. It sounded like everything, a lot like Smith, everything people say about him is very positive. I still think there's plenty of good options out there. And I think Smith is someone who knows that he needs a good defensive coordinator. Not that he doesn't know defense or that he, has to rely on that. But, if you look at his successful years, it was after he made the change and went to Bray. But I think that would have obviously been a great get. But, again, plenty of good options out there, and I'm sure we'll get into some of them. But yeah, it sounded like he was really, I know from what I've read at least, that he was really hoping to be able to bring Bray with him. But, someone had to take that Oregon State job.
Yeah. Any candidates you guys are looking for? Any hopes you have? We'll start with you, Trev.
We talked about this one a little bit. I don't know how much of a candidate he is now that Chip Kelly's sticking around there, but D'Anton Lynn over at UCLA ran a hell of a defense. I didn't realize this was his first year over there, but he's also before that he was the secondary coach with the Ravens, and they only gave up like 18 points a game there. They only gave up, based on what I saw in the stat book, they only gave up about 18 a game at UCLA, which is ridiculous in that conference, especially with some of the offenses you have to play. They were 11th in total defense, first against the run. They had the third most sacks in the country. I mean, that's something that we need. I mean, that seems like it would be a huge hire. Plus, he's only 34 years old.
That's messed up.
That is. You almost couldn't script a better hire there. It's just you don't know if he's available based on their coaching. Yeah. So I mean that would be the top one for me. I don't know if there's a couple other we could name. I don't know what Willie's got, but
yeah, I think D'Anton Lynn is really really intriguing for all the reasons you said, Trav. The age is really crazy. But like high energy, that's what you need on defense corners, high energy, type guy, and everything. Again, he's one of those people. Everything you hear about him, is good. Obviously, you pointed out all the stats, so I think could not go wrong there. I don't know how viable that is, but there's a couple others. I think, I think, Jim Tressel or not Jim Tressel, Mike Tressel, done a fine job at Wisconsin. I don't know how much you'd have to pay him to make that to jump to bring him back. I think when he was a DC before Mel came on, he moved him to like linebackers, back to linebackers, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if there's that avenue to bring him back, but he had success at Michigan State, and I think he's done fine at Wisconsin. Another guy kind of in a similar lane would be Jim Leonard. I think that's a name that
him on here.
People are just throwing out there, but Big Ten guy has had experience in the NFL. Or wait, did he not go to the Packers? Tried to get him, he said no, right? Something like that.
So I think
yeah,
he's at Illinois right now.
Yeah, he's an analyst for Illinois.
Yeah.
But I think he would be good. Obviously, the Big Ten ties, Midwest ties there. An interesting name, Jimmy Lake, former head coach at Washington, was also the defensive coordinator at Washington. He had some good years there at Washington, and I think Boise State as well. Now assistant head coach for the Rams. I think that'll be another good name to bring in. Outside of that, there's some other obviously interesting. I'm just pulling up an article to see. I think there's plenty of options out there. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out one more. Again, another guy we don't know if he's available. But if some of the rumors are true that Kirk Ferentz is going to be done,
yes,
Phil Parker might be available. He's a Spartan, former Spartan. The only thing there is he's like 60 years old, but I mean, as a coordinator, it doesn't really matter that much. His defenses are the reason that Iowa is 10-2 instead of 4-8 or 5-7.
Right.
I mean, so as a guy with the track record that he has in college football and a former Spartan, I would absolutely be on board with bringing him in if that's where we want to go.
Seconded.
Yes, definitely agree there. Didn't realize that he was a Spartan. Like, kind of I got in on that a little earlier.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you guys?
I think that's what gives us a chance, honestly. Like, Smith alone wouldn't give us a chance, I don't think, but because he has gray and white in his blood, he'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah. Speaking about another guy who has green and white in his blood, where do you guys see Harlon Barnett falling into place here? It sounds like he's staying, all signs point staying. What I don't know is where that job will be, if it's on the field or more of administrative, kind of like with D'Antonio, or is it more of a recruiting side of things? Where do you guys see him coming into the fold here?
So
if at all.
If you would have asked me this like yesterday or the day before, I probably would have said he'd be an administrative guy, and then you have Blue Adams, who confirmed coming in from Oregon State, and then I would keep Jim Salgado for the way that the players liked him so much.
Salgado's already gone.
He's gone.
That's what I'm getting at.
Oh,
what I'm getting at.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's why I said if you would have asked me yesterday, today Washington hired him to join their defensive staff, so that's obviously out the window. So I guess I would say, knowing that, I would put Barnett in that secondary coach spot, just because I don't know who else they would bring in.
Yeah.
Fair. I feel like he might be more of a recruiting kind of administrative deal.
Yeah. Well, that's why that'd be my preferred role for him. But given the circumstances right now, it seems like he might be an on the field guy.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I don't think he, I don't know. It's hard to say did a good job with the defensive backs because they have not been good. Sounds like, at least as of yesterday. I have not been looking into much today, but Courtney Hawkins should be sticking around, which I think is great. I think that, first of all, he's done a good job with the receivers. It seems like he's a solid recruiter. Obviously, this ties to the university. I think that he'd be a good guy to keep around. Obviously with Nick Marsh too, which sounds like he is in, which is great. So if they can find a way to make it work with Courtney Hawkins, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, Nick March yesterday on a different podcast. He obviously wanted to come to us first, but he said he couldn't do it. We were busy. He basically said he's a Spartan.
That's great. Sounds like he canceled all his other visits.
He's been talking to
That was great news.
Liz a little bit, trying to get him over here. So
yes.
So that's there. We obviously the O-line coach is coming with, and the tight ends coach, which those seem to be besides the defensive coordinator, those were like the two big ones that he really wanted. Part of the big reason for success over there. I think we're getting Blue Adams and others. That's the only name that I know off the top of my head right now.
I think there was a recruiting guy or a chief of staff that came over too.
Yeah,
like
the right or something, Van der Wright or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to temper my excitement about the offensive line coach just because people got so excited about Kaplovich and he was like, eh.
We also have no offensive linemen.
Again, one of the this offensive line coach, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Michael Check, Mahelchek, Coach M, we can call him.
Malakowski.
Yeah, everyone's saying great things about him. Sounds like we got a really good one there. But pleasant surprise that everyone's raving about the tight end coach as well. It seems like he met with the tight ends and sounds like they were really excited and the meeting went really well. So that's great to hear because he's one of the coaches that does have Midwest ties. So I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's all rainbows and butterflies and cookies, but everything seems to be going pretty well so far, or as well as it can.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the past few months, it is all that. So
we deserve some of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Needed more positivity for once.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So I think that's all we got to say about the staff. Let's get into the portal. The transfer portal. We have 14 people enter the portal thus far. Yeah, I know. More. I guess that's not including Blackstock though, or like I think people that like Blackstock, Pepper, and them who already did. It was like 14 additional guys. So
that feels like not as
still
many as I thought.
Low. Yeah, it still seems low.
I thought it was like 14 offensive linemen alone.
Yeah, right. But all right. So I'm just gonna say the names. I can go name and then thought. Yeah, let's start with that. Okay. First off, punter Michael O'Shuganagowski.
O'Shaughnessy.
Houlihan. Yeah.
O'Shag
I was
Hennessy.
so confused who you were trying to talk about there.
Yeah, so him. We have Eki. Don't care. So next. No, thank you for your service, Michael. I don't care.
Eckley's an all-conference punter now, so
yeah. Darius Snow.
Tough.
That one hurts. Yeah.
Sounded like that was more of he after the injury was not sure himself if he could compete at that level anymore.
Yeah. You don't know if he's still the same kind of player.
He was a good Spartan.
As much. Yeah.
Great Spartan.
It's unfortunate that we didn't get to see a full season of him at the highest level that he could play.
Yeah, agreed.
Derek Harmon, that one really sucked.
Yeah, that's
hopefully they can find a way to bring him back. It's the defensive line specifically is so tough because there's no defensive line coach right now, and that's sucks. That sucks.
That one's really bad. Sounds like a lot of these guys too. They decided weeks ago they're going to at least test the waters, and I mean they've had 2 months of getting tampered with.
Yeah,
I mean that's fair enough, but
now we get to go to the O line. Spencer Brown, the murderer, the Michigan murderer.
Good riddance.
From that's the other Michigan murderer. But Spencer Brown, he's gone. Ethan Boyd, I really hope we can get him back.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Brandon Baldwin moments ago entered the portal. I would like him back. Gino Vandenmark.
I
I
would
would
like
like him
him
back.
back. Yeah,
I like
yeah.
Gino. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And Kevin Wingerton the third or the second. Could just say junior. I also want him back. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Spencer Brown, I've
Mhm.
been unimpressed with him. The only thing I'll say about that is I think he's got the most starts out of that crew. Um, offensive line is one thing where you experience is nice to have. So from that perspective, I'm kind of bummed that he is leaving. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'd love to have him back or would want him back, but I would take him back.
yeah.
I'm okay watching him leave. I'm playing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he has just been
Yeah.
a bit unimpressive from what I thought we
Yeah,
were getting.
I had high expectations, and then
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
didn't pan out. So,
But thank you for your service to all of them as well. Let's get into the receiver
well,
room. Oh, anything else you guys have to say about the O line?
I was gonna say that was specifically about Brown, not the rest of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet my bet right now is we end up retaining out of all the O line guys we have right now. I bet we keep 4 or 5 of like the guys on the roster in general. I think Brown's going to be gone for sure. I have no reason to think that. That's just vibes. And I feel like out of the 4 guys that are in there, I bet we can get 2 of them to stay besides Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got Tyrell Henry, Jerron Glover, and Christian Fitzpatrick entering the portal.
Those are the only 3. Thought we had more receivers gone.
Well, Mosley's he could actually come back. And
No,
Foster
I meant portal. I thought we bet 3 more or more than 3. Okay, I'll take it.
no, I mean
Tyrell Henry, being from East Lansing, a bit surprised there. I was impressed with some of his play. I don't know if it's final. I thought the way he worded his statement was
it sounded
a
very
little final. But you never know. I can't. I think right now it's scary because it's a lot at once, and it feels like, oh my God, who's going to play for us next year? But one, some of these guys can come back, obviously. 2, it opens up spots for Smith to go out and get his guys. So it's not the end of the world, especially with the landscape of college football right now being what it is. But Henry, I was surprised about. I feel like Antonio Gates Jr. is coming next, just from what I read. Like he played in like 3 or 4 or 5 games and just didn't really do much. And I don't know if that was coaching or or whatever, that like just misuse or him just not being at the level of where he needs to be. But I was reading that he would probably enter the portal. I would like to keep him around just
I
name
hope he doesn't
alone,
go.
and I think that there's a lot of good football there. So hopefully he doesn't enter the portal, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely there. And again, too, like I mean, apparently this portal is going to be crazier than ever. So
Crazy, yeah.
we're basically
There's
Jonathan
already-
Fields-
There's already a bunch of crazy names in there. I mean,
the portal isn't open until Monday. Like,
I know exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that have said that they intend to go in. Should say.
that's what I'm saying. Like it hasn't
Yeah.
even really started, and it's already.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be more. It's not going to be Michigan State only either. It's
Oh,
going to
yeah,
be
exactly.
across
Oh
the country.
no.
Yeah.
You're seeing
playing-
starting quarterbacks from 9-10 win teams go in there.
Yeah, right.
That's ridiculous. You wouldn't have seen that.
5 years
3
ago,
years
4
ago.
years ago.
Yeah,
Years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Crazy.
it's like if you have anything under a 10-win season, basically like half your team's going to go to the portal and you reshuffle your roster. So
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
college football. It is what it is. People could be also putting feelers out for NIL.
Yep.
But let's go to the final position group, the one that everyone wants to hear about. Noah Kim, Caton Hauser, and Sam Leavitt have entered the portal. Whenever whoever the center is snaps the ball, they would be snapping it to air. Thoughts on those three
Well,
leaving?
it would actually be Henry Hasselbeck if we're being honest. So we have
for now.
for
For
now,
now.
for now, yes. Yeah. I don't think we could say any of those are really a surprise. I think Hauser's the most surprising out of all of them. Just because he ended the year as a starter, and I think we kind of had consensus opinion that whoever ended up being the starter at the end of the year was probably going to stick around just because they felt like they were the starter for next year going into it. Was very surprising to see Levitt's comments about his relationship with Smith and all that, and how it appears that there's no shot of him coming back, and he's just gone. And then Kim, I think the writing was on the wall. As soon as he got benched, it was, they talked about the injury and how it was worse than whatever. And, we don't know, we weren't there. We don't know exactly what was going on with him, but I think we've all said that we felt like that was kind of a misdirection or a way of saving face and shoving him off to the portal during the season.
Yeah. Hauser, I'm definitely a bit surprised, especially with the hire being a West Coast guy that played quarterback.
And recruited.
Yeah, I would have thought there would have been a little more, like, you're kind of the leader in the clubhouse to be the starter next year for a Big Ten university with a guy has a pretty good track record of developing quarterbacks recently coming in. I would have thought there would have been more reason to stay, or at least there would have been a little more time between when he announced that he was going to enter the portal. Just stick around, let's see what this guy has to say. Wait a couple days, sleep on it. But I can't say I'm totally surprised. But I am surprised a bit. Not totally disappointed. If you had to ask me, I would prefer that he comes back, just because it would be nice to have someone who's started 6 games for Michigan State, at least.
Yeah.
You have him if worse comes to worse. And I would have liked to see what he could have done with Smith developing him. Leave it, again, not surprised. I'm surprised at how he did it. Especially with everything that came out a couple weeks ago about how he loved Michigan State University. His family moved to Michigan. Again, I would have thought a guy coming from Oregon State that is known to develop quarterbacks would have been an enticing hire. I didn't know all that about the recruiting thing. So and I can't blame him. I think it's totally reasonable to say, if they didn't have faith in me then, why would they have faith in me now?
Yeah.
Having said that, Leavitt I feel like he kind of came onto the picture late, and he was kind of a so-so prospect, and then he kind of bolted up the rankings. He didn't have tons of D1 offers, and Oregon State had already gotten Childs before that. So I also think the context is a little important there.
Yeah.
And having said that, when you say I'm basically, and I'm not saying because they didn't recruit me before, I guarantee you probably go somewhere that didn't offer him a scholarship either. So it's it's disingenuous. I mean, Justin Thin said this, but I don't want to use his exact phrase, but it is. It's like, if you're going to go somewhere else, then why would you say that? Just be like, yeah, he didn't recruit me. Not a fan. Say something a little more general to cover your ass, because now, as soon as you go somewhere else, if someone wanted to, criticize him, that'd be the first thing I'd point to. Is like, you said this, but then you went here. Like, they didn't offer you either. And again, the context, I think, is important. Like, they already had a top 100 player. I think he was number 56 in the country, signed or committed to play quarterback. So, it is what it is. I'm surprised, but
if you're a coach of one of those programs that didn't recruit him, it was like thinking about going after him. Are you even thinking about going after him now?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the
yeah. I mean, he only had offers from
I feel like that's a question that has to be asked, but
yeah. I feel like his offers were like us, Washington State.
Those were the 2 big ones. I don't remember.
It wasn't So interesting. And have we heard anything about? Well, I don't want to take Nick's thoughts on the quarterbacks out, but I guess Nick, if you have thoughts on the quarterback before we go on here.
Yeah, so I do have one just general thing. So it's much better that these guys are transferring now than like Keon and Peyton, where it's like
Yeah.
2 seconds before the portal
right,
closes
you're
in
right.
spring. And it's like, hey, you guys know you're wide receiver 1 and QB 1. Hey, these guys are not on the team anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
at least we have time to replace these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, leave it. I was kind of surprised. It sounds like from the interview, who knows how true that is, but from the interview, it sounds like if we hired like anyone else, he would have stayed. Sounds like Hauser was probably gonna at least enter regardless to kind of feel out what he could do. Maybe he wants to be closer to home too. Who knows? Kim, yeah, I think we all kind of saw that coming when he got benched. I wish them all well.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk potential QBs. And also one more thing too. I bet I'm gonna call it right now, call a shot. I bet Hauser comes back.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if he'll be our starting QB, but I bet he comes back to at least compete and maybe transfers in the spring if he doesn't win the job.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think this is saying much, but he's the best bet out of the three.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My hope, and this may be an Urban Meyer conspiracy hope type thing. My wishful thinking is that John Smith came in, said, "Hey, look, Childs is coming with me. You guys can compete for the job, but I just want to be upfront with you." I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see. Obviously a lot of smoke with Childs right now, but before we move on, did Jordan Hall officially announce that he's entering the portal, or is it
no,
just
I wouldn't
rumor?
say. There aren't even any rumors. I would if it does happen, it'll like
that's right. You
got
followed
the
it up.
initial reaction out of the way.
Yeah. I forgot
he told us,
you
he
added
told
that.
us that he told us that to brace for impact in case
I forgot you added that.
Yeah,
You added that fine print there.
No, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of on the message boards them saying, yeah, so it sounds like a lot of the young guys are going to stay. Like it sounds like there's a really low chance that Mangum, Spencer, Chance Rucker would leave.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Definitely Jalen Thompson's pretty good. And anytime someone says, "Oh, what about Hall?" There isn't an answer.
Dead silence. Yeah.
Yeah, it could. I bet he will test the waters, but I bet he's open to coming back. I've never met him in my life, so I have no idea. But I'd like to believe that.
Yeah, you got to get that defensive coordinator hired.
Yeah,
and the linebackers coach.
That'll do a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of position coaches on there right now. That's another thing.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of coaches, period. And there's a few, but
yeah.
All right. So should we have a little QB fun?
Yeah.
Little creative team?
Yes.
Creative team, sure.
All right. So let's pull up. I saw Riley Leonard entered the portal, but it sounds like he's already going to Notre Dame.
He's crystal ball Notre Dame. Auburn was the second choice that they've been talking about him.
Oh,
So
Peyton,
we're not in on that. Max Johnson from A&M committed to UNC too, so he's out on that.
Quick.
How are they already into?
Because A&M had the coaching firing, they're still in that 30-day window.
That's got tampering written all over it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to blank on his name. The guy from Washington State, kind of like a
Cam Ward.
Yeah, he's like an electric.
He'd be a good one. Yeah.
Electric player, like kind of like one of those like roller coasters, like you got to hang on when you're watching him play.
Yeah.
But I feel like Ohio. Yeah, I feel like I read Ohio State potentially for him.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of their fans clamoring for him on
Twitter. And there's that guy Valenti was talking about from Incarnate Word.
Yes,
that I guess already has like 10 seven-figure offers.
Okay. You're confusing me there because Cam Ward came from an Incarnate Word before Washington State.
Maybe that's
what it was.
I thought he said both, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few in there. I guess Nikki's going down the list, but you want to keep doing that, or you want to give it to us?
From Coastal.
Oh wow.
Yeah, damn good quarterback. 10,000 career passing yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how he would feel about the cold weather though.
Yeah.
Blake
that's
For
Shapen.
true.
South Carolina.
Yeah. Who was that one?
Blake Shapen,
Baylor.
decent. Doesn't to me. I mean, I was at the bowl game last year that they had where it was like -6 degrees in Fort Worth, and he did not play so well in the cold weather. I'm not going to bring that up for every quarterback, but that's just something I was there for in person and noticed.
I'm guessing Helms from Clemson. He's been there from 2020 to 2023. I'm guessing he's probably not high on many lists.
One name, if
Will
Ohio
Rogers.
State. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Two more names. Actually, there's a lot more names.
There are a lot in there. Yes.
Will Rogers, Mississippi State. That seems like a big one.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Where do you think he ends up?
I don't know. Those Southern. I feel like
I haven't heard. Yeah, he seems like a Southern quarterback.
I was thinking USC.
Yeah.
well,
Where did you say?
interesting.
I was
USC.
going to say USC.
That
You could see that.
I can see that. Yeah, Caleb Williams goes pro.
And
Oh.
another one, Tyler Van Dyke. Didn't he already transfer once?
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He did not have a good year.
Yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss. He's like, they had him as like a first round pick in a lot of preseason mock drafts and stuff, which is kind of what they had with Brock Purdy, and then he fell all the way to the 7th round. So he never.
Yeah.
he
That
never
could be
really-
coaching.
Of, DJ Ungalale.
Yeah, DJU.
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be just your textbook Johnny Smith project.
Follow
Yeah.
the coach.
Yeah, we
His
know
dad
what.
seemed kind of pissed off though.
Oh yeah, I don't think Michigan State's going to get DJU, but if
Yeah.
you could go Van Dyke could go the DJU route, where he's coming off
that's
kind of
okay.
a bad year. Smith kind of gets him under his wing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't know that Miami coaching staff. Man, I don't know what's going on down there, and I don't know if Van Dyke might have been dealing with some injury stuff too. But I know that he was kind of in and out as a starter. You got any more names, Nikki? There's one interesting name that could
Will
play
Howard
out.
State.
Say Will Howard, yeah, that's a solid option.
Spencer Petras, Iowa. Hey, keep that man.
Keep
away
that
from
name away
us.
from me.
No.
Yeah, no, thank you. No Iowa quarterbacks.
Gavin Rupp, Rutgers. Is that their QB who beat us?
No, that was
that's
Cam.
That's Gavin Winston.
Yeah, Gavin Winston. Yeah,
Stone Hollenbach. Okay, that's just a nice name.
it would go good with Hasselbeck.
Yeah.
What?
That is all. I mean, there are a ton more names, but no one really that seems that
Noteworthy.
Yeah. So, what's your name?
So this would be this has to play out, and then if this would happen, so if Ohio State brings in someone from the portal, let's say it's
See where you're going.
I'm already drawing the blank on that guy from Washington State's name again. What's his name, Trav?
Cam Ward.
Yeah. Spencer McCord, I would think would want to transfer. Yes, there's someone that went to high school near me named Spencer McCord, and I always want to say Spencer McCord. Kyle McCord.
Said that on an episode before.
I have. But I would think he'd be looking for a new home, and people are down on him. I don't think he's that bad. He's not. He gets compared to a CJ Stroud, Justin Field, and he's not that. But he would do just fine at Michigan State.
Exactly. He's not the kind of quarterback Ohio State has had that their fans are used to having, and that's why he's getting all that backlash and everything.
He has the losing to Michigan stink.
Yeah,
I don't want.
There is that.
I do not want.
Game. I mean,
that was a very key interception, though.
He
got
hit as he threw. He actually made the right read. He just got hit as he threw.
Yeah. And that's just the way the optics are going to play out with some people that way.
I just don't think I think he's more of a pro style, pass the ball 20 times a game, 25 times a game, where Ohio State's offense is like with Stroud, they were throwing the ball 50 times a game. I don't think he's that. I think he would do just fine at Michigan State, especially with coaching.
Yeah, I wouldn't fight it if that was something that we did.
He probably hates Michigan too.
Yeah.
A little extra motivation, yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
not a bad idea.
It probably won't happen.
Oh, well, no, I mean, come on. We all
A
know.
lot of the stuff we throw out here is just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Dante
Except for
Moore.
Childs.
People were saying Dante Moore was expected to enter the portal.
If
Potentially.
if he does, absolutely go after him.
No question. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. He did not have a good year, but he's also a true freshman. And I've always thought true freshman starting at quarterback is a big, big ask.
Yeah.
And look, Pac-12 is a tough conference this year. They had a really good year as a conference. There's some really good teams. There's a lot. He has a ton of talent. He would be very intriguing name, especially to come home. That'd be a great story.
Especially the way he played early out there. I know that
Yeah.
he didn't have the season that you'd want to see from him completely, but when you look at it in totality, but
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year, just going in there and coming off the bench first of all in the first game, and then taking the starting quarterback job away from a veteran quarterback as a true freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insanely impressive.
What about Arch Manning?
Any one of those Texas
He is not
quarterbacks.
coming. Yeah.
He's coming back, baby.
Yeah. I'd even take Malik Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Ewers. I don't think he'll go.
Well,
But
Ewers is the starter. He's not going to go anywhere.
yeah. Yeah. Unless we paid him more, which would be hard to do.
He actually also is already transferred.
Texas has some deep wallets.
Oh, he's already transferred once. You're right.
So,
Yeah. Good point.
all right. So I know there have been some good receivers, like the Purdue receiver from Detroit.
There's
He's
two
hard to
Purdue
hit.
receivers in there. They're pretty good.
Burks is the one I was
Indiana's-
thinking of. He's
TJ
from
Sheffield.
but yeah, so that's what we got there. I guess now should we do some college football playoff talk?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love the playoff talk. Okay, so obviously big week for college football playoffs. New rankings came out yesterday from the college football playoff committee. Obviously Georgia number 1. I don't think there's any surprises there. 2, Michigan. I don't think there's any surprises there. Washington number 3. I don't think there's any surprises there. Florida State back in with a win over Florida. They're back in the top 4. Maybe some surprises there, but I think that's well deserving if they, even without the starting quarterback Jordan Travis, I think if they can win that championship game, they'll be in. So then we get into 5 Oregon, 6 Ohio State, 7 Texas, 8 Alabama. I think that's probably where the cutoff is of teams that have a chance to get in. It ends at Alabama. Everyone's agreeing.
Definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alabama and Texas have a real long shot too.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's that. Texas seems much longer to me than Alabama because they need help. I think Alabama wins. They're in.
Alabama would get a win over Georgia. I mean, that would be
they're in.
huge for their chances. Texas is playing Oklahoma State. That's not nearly the same kind of win.
Yeah, and I don't even think that it's not necessarily who Alabama's beating. They would be 12-1 SEC champs. I don't care if they beat Florida in that game.
I'm just saying that just adds to the resume.
Yeah, and that would an Alabama win would really hurt Texas because I think Georgia, win or lose, I think they're in.
Yeah.
And Texas can't have that. Yeah.
Oregon.
So, I think so. I think there's basically the games this weekend. I think that there's Georgia, Alabama, winning you're in. I think Georgia probably in no matter what. Michigan, if they win, they're in.
And they're going to win.
Yep. Washington, Oregon, I think the winner of that game gets in.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then Florida State, if they win, they're
spot left.
Yeah, they should.
Yes, but I feel like that for me, it's hard to put them in with that backup quarterback. I get the undefeated season and everything, but
I get it.
I think they will be in. It's just personally, it's like I feel like some of these other teams could make some more noise. In there, I mean, whoever gets it is not beating Georgia. What?
Yeah.
I have a hard time if Bama was to beat Georgia. I have a hard time thinking Florida State's getting in the playoffs.
Yeah, that probably is
Yeah,
where it
that
would be
that would be
unfortunate
the
for
one
them.
that would be the one that I think would probably leave them out if even if they go undefeated.
Yeah, I think you're
But
right.
Oregon obviously has to win.
You
yeah,
could you
the
could make
winner
it.
of that game's in and the loser's out. I would
Yes,
think.
yeah,
Unless you end up with this scenario of a bunch of one loss teams,
right.
like all the well like Bama wins, Texas wins, and then Florida State loses, and
Yeah,
then you
that's
end
an
up with
interesting
Washington and
scenario.
Oregon, and then you have Oregon beating Washington. Oregon's probably in as the conference champion, but then what do you do
Yeah,
with Washington and all that? That
yeah,
that's where it gets complicated.
that's probably where Texas has to be rooting for. They
Yeah.
need.
Chaos. Yeah.
I was saying to someone I have a coworker that went to Texas, and I was like, you don't need total chaos, but you need some help. But now that I'm like playing it out, I think they need some weird stuff to happen.
How sick would it be if Michigan lost?
That would be cool, and that would help Texas.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be if
That would
Michigan
be
lost to Ohio State,
phenomenal. But
yeah, man. I guess it's much harder for Texas to get in than I thought. Ohio State at 6. I feel like that is like they belong behind Texas and probably Alabama too. I know that they just lost their one loss to the number 2 team in the country, and it was by one possession. But I mean, Texas was in the top 4. They lost to Oklahoma, and they've been at 7. They dropped significantly. They've been stuck there. Now they haven't been playing very good teams, but neither has Ohio State outside of Michigan, and they lost. So I thought that was kind of an interesting. They did not fall as far as I thought they should. I thought they probably should have fallen to 8. But
interesting
do you
that you
think
say that because a lot of people feel that they fell too far. I've noticed in
really?
tweets and stuff. Yeah.
But where would you put them? Would
Uh,
you put them? And I'm not
I
saying that you're. I don't. I know you're not making that argument to those people though. Where
yeah.
would you put them? Like they're not going to be ahead of Washington. They're not going to be ahead of Oregon. They should be behind Texas. They should be. They should definitely be behind Alabama. So I'm not
Yeah.
really sure where else they would go.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I
But
think just based on the fact that they, I guess, based on the fact that they lost so late in the season, they're
yeah,
in like the perfect spot. But
yeah,
the other two teams I think have been playing a little bit better than Ohio State has lately.
yeah. I think it's so tough because you can like my argument is like okay, like where would you put them? Washington doesn't deserve to be, you know, or they don't deserve to have their spot taken. Neither does Oregon.
Yeah.
Neither does Florida State. But if you asked me if I thought Ohio State was better than Washington, yes, they are. I think they're better than Florida State. I think they're probably on par with Oregon. I don't know if they're better than Texas, and I think they're not as good as Alabama. So like if you're just looking at the overall picture, like I do think Ohio State is probably a top 5 team in the country, but I don't know. I do think there's any way they could get in.
Michigan losing,
I
maybe.
I Michigan losing and that whole scenario with all those one loss teams
Yeah,
could throw them in
yeah.
there.
Michigan loses, Florida State loses.
Oregon wins. I mean,
But Oregon wins. Yeah, they need
Oregon
another
wins.
one loss
Oregon
team.
goes
If
in.
Oregon wins, Washington's done. They're out no matter what.
But if Washington wins,
They're in no matter
let's say Georgia and Washington win, so they're in. Florida State loses, they're out. Michigan loses, they're out. So that's 2 spots that are now open. So you would have basically 2 spots for Ohio State and Texas, because Alabama would lose. Oregon loses, they're out.
I hate saying this, but I think they would keep Michigan in the conversation.
They would. That would keep Michigan in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Michigan cannot lose this game and make the playoff. Their schedule does not hold up if they lose this game, in my opinion.
I agree with that point, but I think the way that the whole thing's work, they have the head to head over Ohio State. They they don't always value the head to head, but I think in this case it would be somewhat valid.
Yeah, that's fair. It's tough. I'm sure the committee's hoping for not
I hate
that.
making that argument on their behalf.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if they lost, they can. I also feel like if Michigan lost to Iowa, 10 seconds later, the NCAA would do the punishment for
That
Michigan.
would be a
I
convenient
think
time.
I think it's been done. I think they're sitting on it until they lose or win the national title.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I agree. It just sucks. Sucks that like Georgia can lose. It doesn't. It's fair. Like they are probably the best team in the country. Um, and they deserve the right to lose to a top 10 team and still not be knocked out of the playoff. But it sucks. Like it's just like I like wish that game meant a little more. It obviously means a lot for Alabama, but like Georgia, really, if they lose, it's not like they're gonna be their season's over. Like they're just fine. It would be interesting to see what the committee does there. Like Georgia loses to number 8 Alabama, who I think should be higher than number 8. Like, do they move Georgia to 4 to 3? Like, what do you do? Like, is Georgia just because they lost the one championship game, they have to drop any? May not, in my opinion, they wouldn't have to drop any spots. They could like, it's one game, especially if it was close.
I mean, I think they would just make whatever makes it so that they wouldn't
Play Alabama again.
probably be they'd go down to 2 and Bam would be 4 probably.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Or swap it around. Like who cares?
But then Florida State wins, they move to 3, and Michigan moves to 1.
Yeah, like
that's my one thing is like they kind of they jerry rig these things so they don't have the 2 teams play again, but it's not really a true ranking system at that point. Then you're just and that is what it is. Like that's college football today. It's TV ratings, money. It is what it is. But like if you were doing a true ranking, you wouldn't worry about who they would play again.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the 12-team playoff more than I thought I would. I was kind of
gonna say
at first.
That's why we're getting 12.
Yeah. I was out on it kind of when they first announced it, but the more I think about it, like it makes things so much easier.
It's
like omitting the third, like people say, oh, it's going to be the same thing with the 12th seed. Like, okay, but no one thinks the 13th seed is going to win the national title. Like, that's.
Yeah, I hear you on that. But I don't know. I think it makes it harder for them. Like when you get down to like those at-large teams and you're deciding between 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, the difference, like right now, the difference between 1 and 12 is massive. But the difference between 9, 10, 11, 12 is very small, and all the way up to 14 or 15. That's going to be really hard for them to like. There's going to get like right now. I feel like every year they get it right for the most part. The 4 teams in there, general consensus is that these are the 4 teams that deserve to be in there. When you expand it to 12, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be expanded. The more college football, the better. But there's 13, 14, 15 are going to be most years saying that they should have got in. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be a lot of how could they not choose us? Like look at this team. We beat that team. We lost to that team. There's going to be so much of that.
Yeah, but like I mean, oh no, I was a 12th team instead of the like 15th team. Like no one is expecting like people would like if you're the 4 seed in these current playoffs, like most of the time, unless you're Michigan State or Washington, they will usually say, yeah, any of these teams could win it all. Like could possibly win it all. Like the 12th seed, like you got left out of the playoffs against getting blown out by the 1 seed in the second round. Like, sorry. Like that's an easier pill to swallow.
Fair argument. Yeah, fair argument. It'll be interesting. I'm excited for the 12 team.
Yeah.
It's good for college football, I think, too, because you guys give more teams a chance, and it doesn't really say like, I think it makes it easier for teams like Michigan State in this landscape to still be in the conversation where like if they keep it at 4, it's going to be one of those things where the rich get richer, and teams like Michigan State can have enough resources to get in that conversation to be a top 10 to 12 team every other year.
Make it in, give yourself a chance.
Yeah,
that's all you get.
Yeah. So going off that, and we don't have to take too much time on this. The Heisman race, I think it's pretty much going to be whatever quarterback wins that Pac-12 championship game. Marvin Harrison Jr., if he had a good game versus Michigan, I think he really could have, and they won. I think he really could have cemented at least a chance. Definitely an invite to New York and a much better chance of winning. Jaden Daniels, LSU, if you just looked at stats and watched, I think he would be the guy. But I really think it comes down to big games, and they have played in their big games. They did not do well. They're 9-3, and they're ranked 13th. I just don't think that's quite going to get it done. And they've been padding his stats, man. Like, they were up like 50, and they were just trotting it back out there to pass and run. And it's I don't know. I feel like that's kind of lame, to be honest with you. I think it kind of hurts them more than anything. But yeah, I don't. Do you think anything different on the Heisman?
I mean, that's basically what I was saying last week when we talked about it. It's between those two quarterbacks, because it's become a quarterback award. It's not really about the best player in college football anymore.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately,
and I mean, it can be if you go out and have the performance on the national stage. It's just a lot of times that hasn't happened, and unfortunately, Marvin Harrison Jr., the best player in college football, missed his chance.
Yeah, agreed. It would look a lot different if Michigan beat Ohio State. Marvin Jr. had a great game. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great game. If LSU had beaten Alabama that a couple weeks ago, it would look different, I think. And I think Penix and Nix are both worthy. I don't think it's.
Yeah. Have they voted yet, or is it after the championship game?
It's after the championship game.
Yeah, the finalists are going to be announced on Monday.
So I have a take.
Maybe Sunday.
I have a take for everybody here. There are only two possible outcomes of who the Heisman will be. It will be Bo Nix, or if Alabama beats Georgia, it will be Milroe.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, Nikki.
I think if Bama beats Georgia and he has like a decent game, guarantee you Milroe will be the Heisman.
Interesting.
Like the start of his season might pull him out of that, but
he's been great though.
Yeah, he's been fantastic the rest of the year.
Think about Milroe. I did mention him a couple weeks ago. If Alabama runs the table,
I mean, weren't they talking about like benching him at one point though?
They did. He didn't start.
He
didn't start.
Yeah,
it is a good story. Yeah, that Iron Bowl was awesome. It was a great.
It was. That was a fantastic play.
Yeah,
really kind of Peyton throwing up to his old turnover tricks there.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So with that, should we get into the picks?
One thing we got to do first.
Oh,
cue the music.
Cue the music, baby.
For sure.
Okay, so I think I lost my notes on a week on that episode that we had to take down. So I don't have the records from that. Last week we all did very bad. Travis 2-7. Nikki, you were also 2-7, and I was 4-5. So nobody had a winning week last week. I don't know exactly where the standings were, but last time before the deleted episode, Travis, you were 1 game up on Nikki, and 5 games up on me, or 2 games up on Nikki and 5 games up on me, something like that. So, I mean, I got 2 games on you both there, but I think the standings would still be 1, 2, 3, Travis, Nikki, and Willie.
Hanging by a thread.
Yeah. So obviously conference championship week, not a ton of games to choose from here. So we'll pick all the conference championship games. Obviously no Michigan State game, unfortunately. But our first game, 2 conference championship games Friday night, December the 1st. The first one being the Conference USA Championship at Williams Stadium in Virginia, which I believe is Liberty's home stadium. 10-3 New Mexico State. 10-3 doesn't make sense. Whatever. New Mexico State will be traveling to Williams Stadium and taking on number 25 Liberty, who is favored by 11 points.
Yeah,
Trev.
man. I mean, I don't know much about either team, to be honest. with Liberty's having a good year with Jamie Cadwell and Caden Salter there. New Mexico State. What I do know is Jerry Kill, the former
That's right.
Minnesota coach, is their head coach. They won 10 games this year for the first time since 1960.
Wow. Okay. So you do know a little.
So I know a little bit. I actually had to write about it today. So they both teams are newcomers to Conference USA, by the way. They were both independent before this year. Having said all that, I think from what I know about Liberty, they're a pretty damn good team, so I'll just take Liberty. I don't know much about New Mexico State other than what I've already said. So
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about these teams besides the QB of Liberty. Liberty is going to blow them out.
Okay. Yeah, I watched one Liberty game. Very impressed by the offense. Having said that, conference championship, New Mexico State, I think, has got a lot to play for. I think both coaches are good coaches. I'm going to take the points in this one. I'll go with New Mexico State. The next game, Friday night, a big one, the Pac-12 championship presented by 76, being played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, between the number 5 Oregon Ducks and the number 3 Washington Huskies, most likely for a spot in the college football playoff. Oregon, shockingly, coming into the game, favored by 9.5.
I would also take Oregon, but I don't like that.
Let me double check to make sure that's right. But go ahead.
Okay. If that's the line, I'm going to take Washington because I think it's much closer than that. So
that is the line.
We'll have to double check. Yeah, I get Washington struggled a little bit. Oregon's had been really, really great, especially since they lost that game to Washington. I think Oregon wins. I don't think that is nearly 9.5.
That, to me, that seems like a Vegas knows kind of line. So I think you put the house on Oregon.
Yeah, Nikki took the words out of my mouth. I was ready to pick Oregon no matter what. Like, I was expecting 3.5, 6.5, something like that. It's too weird of a line. Feels like Vegas is begging people to bet on Washington. I'm going to go with Oregon. The next game, the SEC. I'm sorry. It is the moving over to Saturday now. Saturday at noon, the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, Travis's backyard. The Oklahoma State Cowboys come in ranked number 18. They'll be taking on, of course, the number 7th ranked Texas Longhorns. Texas is favored by 15.5.
Well, okay, so question here. Is this a, well, I will be boots on ground in the press box for that game.
Oh, you got to do a Herb Street? You're calling the game?
That's what I'm saying. Is this a Herb Street situation, or am I allowed to pick this?
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it? Okay. Again, another big one that I think Texas is that much better than Oklahoma State. I'm going to go Longhorns.
Okay.
I sit next to the guy who went to Oklahoma State at work, so I'll say OK State. CMA, they said FU to Oklahoma for leaving the SEC, and they'll do the same to Texas.
Very good. I will take the points as well. I think Texas is a lot better, but Gundy usually does a pretty good job in these big ones. I'll take Oklahoma State in the points. Okay, the next one, going down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the SEC Championship. I also think presented by Dr. Pepper. I couldn't find the sponsor for that one. Obviously, the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs take on the 8th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Georgia is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go Bulldogs.
Bama, roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I like Bama. I think Milrose playing great football. I am a little shaken by their performance against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, but that's always kind of a wonky game. but Smart has had Saban's number over the past couple of years. I'm going to go with Georgia as well, with Trav there. That's going to be a fun one to watch, though, I think. All right, now going on to a bit of a less exciting game, the American Athletic Championship at Yeoman
How
Stadium.
dare you? How dare you? Those are two entertaining teams, damn it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I just don't think it carries the same weight as the SEC
Yeah,
championship.
yeah.
But I'm with you. Obviously, the 10-2 SMU Mustangs, who Trav is very familiar with, going up against the number 22 ranked Tulane Green Wave. Is that Green Wave?
Yes.
Tulane. It's the home game for Tulane. They are favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I think you gotta take Tulane there. But I've covered SMU all year long. I really want to take them in this game, but the fact that they don't have their starting quarterback is it's gonna be
That is going to be tough.
not that they can't do it. It's just the circumstances kind of especially the way that they've played the past couple years. But
Good coach.
Both have fantastic coaches.
Yeah.
SMU has been fantastic this year. They're going to get bolder.
Yeah.
Almost 40 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sucked. I was at that game and then when Stone went down last week, you could just tell right away that it wasn't good. I know they have a lot of faith in the backup, and he was a huge standout here in the Dallas area. High school football won the state championship for a Dallas ISD school for the first time in like 60 years when they won it. So he's a very good quarterback, and they like him a lot. But it's a lot there in Tulane. Really just the last year and a half.
Yeah. All right, Fist is going with the Green Wave. Nikki.
I am so New Orleans, like 1825 Tulane.
All right. I am gonna go with SMU. I'll do it for you, Travis. I know you wanted to take them, so I'll take them. I think the fact that it's a backup quarterback and it's only a 3.5 point spread, maybe telling you something there. I will take the Mustangs. All right, now moving on to the granddaddy of them all, that's the Rose Bowl, the Big Ten Championship presented by Discover. The dastardly Michigan Wolverines, ranked number 2, going up against the 18th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes. Michigan obviously favored in this one by a big one, 21.5, 3 touchdowns and a hook. Jim Harbaugh back on the sidelines after serving his 3-game partial suspension, I would call it. Travis, lay it on me.
I hate doing this, but does anyone think that's even going to be close? I mean, Iowa is not a good football team. They just happen to be the bad team in the Big Ten West. So, big line. I think you got to go Michigan, unfortunately.
I hear you. Okay, Nikki, what do you got?
Yeah. Bad guys.
Yeah, exactly how I feel.
I just can't bring myself to do it. I'm gonna go with Iowa to keep it close. I'm gonna spin it. I think Harbaugh coming back to the sidelines is gonna throw a little. They got a good thing going right now, Sharon Moore, and maybe Harbaugh, a little disruption, more of a distraction than anything else. I think they're going to keep it pretty safe with the play calling. I don't see JJ taking many hits. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes to keep it close. Bonus pick here in this one, over under 35.5.
Under. I think Michigan hits the over by itself.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I lean that way too.
Okay.
I mean, look at the last time they played Iowa in the Big Ten Championship.
Yeah, that was a bloodbath.
It was brutal.
Yeah. I'm trying to do
I think they've scored over 40 points by themselves in each of the last two Big Ten championships.
Yeah, you're
So-
probably right. I'm trying to do the math here. If Michigan were to cover 21.5, I mean, they could win 24-0. They could win 28-3. I'm going to take the under, maybe hedge my bet a little bit.
I mean, they're playing
Because
Iowa.
Iowa
They have to score a lot to win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And if they're going to win by 21 plus, they could win 24-0. But if Iowa can find a way to score twice, I think that over would hit. I'm going to hedge my Iowa pick and go with the under, banking on a Michigan blowout. All right. This one, a big one in my household, the Louisville Cardinals will take on the, let me reset here. The 14th ranked Louisville Cardinals will take on the fourth ranked Florida State Seminole in the ACC championship game at Bank of America Stadium in North Carolina. This one presented to you by our good friends at Subway. Florida State is favored by 2.5, obviously with backup quarterback Tate Rodemaker running the show. Travis, let me know what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I did say earlier that I don't like the team that Florida State has much with Rodemaker at quarterback. Having said that, I do feel like I have to pick them here.
Okay. Going with the Knowles.
Same here.
Alrighty, also going with the Knowles. And of course, my beautiful fiance Ivy, a Florida State alumnus. I will also take the Knowles. I actually think Rodemaker's done an all right job.
Yeah, I just don't think it's the same.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Obviously, I mean, Jordan Travis was a big-time leader of that team. They lost a lot, not just a starting quarterback, but a leader as well. But I think they can get done versus Louisville, a lot on the line for them. So I'm going to go with the Knowles. So obviously, that kind of does it for the college football picks. So try to get a few more picks in here. I've got Lions traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Lions coming off a tough loss on Thanksgiving to the awful Green Bay Packers. Lions coming in as road favorites, favored by 4.5. Or I'm sorry, 4 points, no hook. 4 points for the Lions.
Yeah.
Lions.
Yeah.
Big game for my family, obviously. So much New Orleans in there. Gotta go with the good guys, Lions. Saints-Lions games are always pretty crazy too, but
Yeah.
I think real tough
need
loss,
that one.
long week. Dan Campbell's coming to town. His old spot too. So
Yeah,
a little
true.
homecoming for him. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think 10 days off for the Lions, great spot for a bounce back. Kind of feels like a must-win game in a way.
No, absolutely need it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Lions. One last pick here, and obviously the spread is not out yet because college basketball is weird like that. But MSU's got a game against the Wisconsin Badgers next week. How about we go with a little score prediction? We won't count this towards a win or anything, but let's just get something on the board. I believe this one's at the Breslin Center next Tuesday, the 5th day of December.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask for us again. I will go Spartans 68-60.
All right. Low scoring affair.
Yeah,
I can
that's how they usually are.
True.
I can tell you this one's gonna make us mad. Say that we're gonna squeak out the victory. Let's say if there's no way we shoot well this game. Let's say like 55-52 Spartans.
Okay. Yeah, I also think we're going to squeak out the win here. I think it'll be slightly higher scoring. I'm going to go 72-68 Spartans. Jonathan Smith sitting courtside with D'Antonio or something at the game. Maybe another coach.
Maybe you can get to work.
Yeah, that's also true. You're probably right. He's going to be on the road. What am I thinking? But yeah, that'll do it for the picks. I don't know if were we going to have a podcast next week or
We can
I said we keep it going in basketball season.
you're right. What am I thinking? We have a whole basketball season to
as well.
talk about. Yeah.
That will be same time next week. Everywhere we get podcasts. It was Nick, Travis, Winston. Low ego, high output. Go green.
Go white.
Can't mess with states. Legend division chills, baby. Green and white. Spartan dogs, we winning in the end zone. Chilling #1 defense all over. Big Ten undefeated, no truck, they ain't cheated. Green and white since 1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. That green and white got them feeling some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Is it cause we're #1 you feel some type of way? Type of way, make them feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Dark West is a finalist for that dope award. Shout out to Pat Narduzzi, our defensive guard. Another 100 yards rush for Lane Ford. Put another 6 on the scoreboard. I guarantee you we gon' be ranked in the top 10. Winning over the University of Michigan. Shouts to Hard defensive captain. December 7th, 8 p.m. we bout to win again. Michigan State, Michigan State. From Charlene to Lucas Oil, we came to play. Everybody great, even our punter great. He's up for the Ray Guy Award, even our punter great. Some type of way, yeah, they feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Spartan Dogs, we winning in the end zone. Chilling #1 defense all over. Big Ten undefeated, no truck, they ain't cheated. Green and white since 1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. That green and white got them feeling some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Is it cause we're #1 you feel some type of way? Type of way, make them feel some type of way. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way. Mr. Spartan Dog is what they all say. And that S on my chest will stand for Michigan State. Don't try to pass Trey Waynes or pick it off. Or Isaiah Lewis or Curtis Drummond the boss. The whole secondary can't forget the nod. That 4-3 that we running, respect the squad. Respect the line, respect the line. Shalika who coming for you, that's 89. Marcus Rush coming for you, that's 44. And please believe we got Mr. Reynolds on those. Tackle bro, tackle bro. Tyler Hoover 6'7", ain't no stopping bro. Pinnacles and Mr. Jones, I lay you out flat coming through the hole. Now we back on O. Offense, that's Spartan power. Watch Connor Cook throw it deep to Benny Flowers. He got all day, perfect passing. Shout out to the O-line, Mr. Travis Jackson. Dogs, we winning in the end zone. Chilling #1 defense all over. Big Ten undefeated, no truck, they ain't cheated. Green and white since 1855. Legends division champs, baby. D'Antonio got them feeling some type of way.